Am I the asshole for refusing to pay my friend for a custom cake because it included something I'm allergic to? My 28F friend 30F is a self-taught baker who recently started her own small business. She's made some great cakes in the past, and I wanted to support her, so I asked if she could make a cake for my mom's 60th birthday. I told her I wanted something floral and elegant, and I gave her some examples. I also told her clearly that my mom is allergic to almonds, like EpiPen level allergic. She agreed, and I paid her a $100 deposit for the $250 cake. A week later, I went to pick it up, and she was so proud of it. It looked beautiful, honestly, but when I asked what flavor it was, she told me it was almond vanilla because she thought it gave it a more upscale taste. I was shocked. I reminded her my mom is allergic to almonds, and she just kind of brushed it off and said it was such a small amount, and it would be fine as long as my mom didn't eat too much. I told her I couldn't take the cake, and she got upset, saying I was being overdramatic and ungrateful for all her hard work. I told her she could either make a new cake or I wouldn't be paying the rest. She refused, and now mutual friends are telling me I should have just accepted it and gotten a different dessert for my mom. Others say I was right not to risk it. I didn't mean to cause drama, but I'm honestly hurt that she ignored something so serious. Am I the asshole for telling my husband I'd rather raise a kid who stands up for themselves than one who blindly obeys? I'm 32F, my husband is 31M. We have a 6 years-old son, Leo. He's a sweet, curious kid who's really into dinosaurs and loves riding his little blue bike. Last weekend, I went grocery shopping, while my husband stayed home with Leo. Apparently, Leo was outside riding his bike and left it in the front yard while he went inside to get water. A few minutes later, our neighbor, Ms. Robert, came over saying her grandson 8M saw Leo take his bike. My husband looked out, didn't see Leo's bike, and assumed the worst. He confronted Leo, who insisted he didn't steal anything. He said his bike was gone. My husband didn't believe him and told him he was grounded, no TV, no tablet, until he told the truth and apologized. Leo refused, saying, I didn't take anyone's bike. Why are you punishing me when I didn't do anything? Later that afternoon, Ms. Robert returned, visibly embarrassed. Turns out her grandson had taken Leo's bike to the park because he thought it looked cooler. He made the whole story up to avoid getting in trouble. When I got home, my husband explained the situation. I figured, okay, you'll apologize to Leo, and this will be a learning moment. But nope, he doubled down. He said Leo still needed to be punished for disrespect and refusing to obey. I said, so you want to punish him for telling the truth and standing up for himself? He said, it's the principle. He needs to listen, even when he doesn't agree. And I said, I'd rather raise a boy who knows how to stand up for himself than one who just lays down and accepts mistreatment, especially when he's innocent. We got into a pretty heated argument. He says I'm being unreasonable and dramatic and undermining him as a parent. But I don't think I'm wrong for wanting to teach my son that it's okay to say no when something is unfair, even if it's coming from a parent. Am I the asshole for kicking out my GF's sister and her kids out of my flat after my GF gave her the keys? People around me are saying I am an AH, but I need the perspective of uninvolved people. My long-term GF has my apartment keys, as I have hers. Only unspoken until now, but always respected rule was, if you need to go to the other place, just send a text, hey, going to your place. Doesn't matter if the other is at home or even responds. Just simply to tell the other you will be at their place. I was supposed to be away 700 kilometers from home for 2 weeks for work-related stuff, but 4 days in and our instructor got into an accident. Work tried to find another one, but no such luck on very short notice. They decided at like 10 p.m. to get us the first flight home the next day at like 6 a.m., pay us the overtime and the next day at home, then resume our normal work schedule. So I get home the next day at like 9 a.m., sent a text to my GF to tell her I am back. Getting to my door, I am very confused hearing children screaming inside. Since none of the people who have my keys have low kids, like that my brother and my GF, I thought I got squatters or something. Opening the door, and I see my GF's sister's kid running around after a shower, putting water everywhere. Plates of half-finished ravioli on my living room ground. Their suitcases opened in the entrance. I get inside and see the husband on my couch trying to hook up my Pesta 2 that he must have digged out in my storage room. Getting into a verbal argument with him trying to understand why the fuck they are here. Said my GF told them they could get my flat for 2 weeks while I was gone. They wanted to visit the city for a bit, go to the beach. My GF sent me a text while I was arguing, telling me, "Oh, okay, BTW, my cis fam is at your flat." I admit I blew up on him and the cis who left my bedroom in the meantime. Told them to leave immediately. They argued quite a bit. My GF called her cis. Then cis put up the speaker so we could all hear, and she said I was embarrassing her, that she told them they could use my place for a while. I threatened to call the police, also asked my brothers to come. They left while cursing me to their children, telling that holidays are over because the mean little sister's boyfriend cast us out. I have now all of my GF family on my back, and even some of my own family, saying I could have stayed with at my GF so the kids could have some vacations. Also, they have read my doctor prescription papers, I put them in a specific order, and it was not the same, and obviously took some of my prescribed meds, opened a box of benzodiazepine. AITAH for making them leave. We pretty much stopped talking about anything else with my GF. I feel like I am being gaslighted. I would never invite people to her apartment like that, especially without telling her. It seems so disrespectful. Am I going insane? Am I the asshole for wanting to break up with my GF for pulling a pregnancy prank on me? I'm 25 MS in an LDR with my GF 26er for a year now. Today, I was in the shower with her on FaceTime, and she started talking about her belly and that there's a baby in it. I thought she was joking for the first 20 minutes, and I asked her to stop joking about that 6 to 7 times, and she didn't, so I hung up the phone. She calls me back 5 minutes later, and I answered. She said in all seriousness, "Just take a few deep breaths and look at the photo I just sent you." I looked, and it was an ultrasound of a 2 weeks pregnancy. She even typed her name on the bottom right. I didn't believe her still, but she made up a whole story about how her last period was just spotting, and she went to a doctor 4 weeks ago but was comprehending it herself before telling me. She continued this for another hour and was saying how she wanted to have the baby, and I told her I can't have a kid. But she just kept this weird, evil smile on her face and said she can't kill a living thing, telling me to go look again, and asked, "How are you going to kill that?" I was literally in shock in a realization that I'm going to have a kid in this world, and I won't be there to father it. That really put me in a different mental or emotional state. Then she finally hinted that she's not actually pregnant and started laughing. I hung up the phone. Haven't talked to her in a couple hours. Actually thinking about ending things with here, because 1, that's a messed up prank. 2, while thinking that I'm going to have a kid, I realized that her and I have nothing in common, and the thought of raising a kid with her and being with her forever didn't really excite me. Like I wouldn't be able to go fishing with her and my kid because she doesn't like fishing, or anything really out in nature. Something I really want to do with my kid. I would really like to do that stuff with my wife as well. Am I the asshole for getting my new coworker fired for falsely accusing me of being racist? Hi, I work in healthcare, and this has been a huge stir among my coworkers, and most are hugely divided. This was sometime last year, and I waited a bit for anonymity's sake. I work in the ER as a nurse. There was a new nurse working, who was in her first week working with me that day. I was talking to the CNA about a new patient I had just got. I should note, this patient's name includes either a racial slur or a racist nickname for their race. I don't want to elaborate on what their name is for patient privacy. I know it's not great to say it, but hypothetically you could think of it as being Mr. Ching Chong. So I said to the CNA, "I need to go check on Mr. Amarzo." The new nurse gave me a crazy look and said, "I can't believe you just called your patient that." I tried to stop her and explain that, hey, that's actually his name. But she kept yelling and cussing at me, calling me a racist. It was super embarrassing, and it got the attention of several staff members, patients, and visitors. After she calmed down and breathed for a second, the CNA told her that it's the patient's legal name. She looked in disbelief, and she was shown their chart. She awkwardly laughed and apologized, but the damage was done. I went to HR right after my shift ended, and they fired her within an hour. She was in her 90-day period, and they figured it wasn't worth it to keep her when she had already created a hostile work environment. Several co-workers have defended her and said she thought she was standing up to racism. I think she should have let me fucking speak after she said, "I can believe you said that," because I was about to tell her that it was their actual name. I don't think screaming and going off like that in the workplace is appropriate anyways. AITAH, I need some peace of mind on the subject. Am I the asshole for blowing up on my BF after he texted my friend about betting on doing anal with me? My BF Josh has asked me if I wanted to do anal in the past. And I've told him again and again that I don't want to do it. And I've never done it before, and I just don't have an interest in doing it. My friend Chloe has talked to me about her experience and told me it hurt with her BF, but that she does it now and then for him. Me and my BF went to a house party his friend Ryan was hosting. Chloe was not there. Just a chill night with like a dozen or so people and drinks, music, games, and I knew some of them. We were drinking, and my BF would refill me, but he didn't drink BC. He was going to drive me home, and he started getting touchy with me, kissing me with me on his lap, making comments like "tonight feels perfect and you are hot" when you are a bit tipsy. The night's a bit hazy, but I remember clearly that later when I was away from him, I got a message from Chloe. "Hey, I think you should see this." She sent me screenshots zoomed in on Josh's messages to her. "You've done anal before, right? Did you like it? Did it hurt? How'd your BF convince you? Bet some money with Ryan she'll do it tonight. Help me out." I reread it, and I got so upset, and I was tired, and decided I wanted to get away from this party, and I grabbed my stuff and dragged him out of there, saying I was getting dizzy, and he drove me home, and I stayed quiet the whole drive, and he was upset, because he said he was enjoying the party. When we got inside, I went to shower, and I was sleepy, and when I got out and dried off, he got me onto the bed, and he was undressed and started touching me and told me he wanted to do anal while pushing against me and asked me, and I told him no. And he helped my hips down and started pressing into me there while saying like he knows how to make it feel good and to just try it with him. And I rolled off and pushed him off of me and put on a slip, and I had to rest down on the bed. He didn't even get dressed, and I blew up on him and confronted him about the messages, and he said he just asked her so he could know how to do it right. I confronted him about Ryan, and he said it was just guy talk after Ryan was bragging about the type of sex he was having. Ryan's not even in a relationship. And I was so upset, and I told him to sleep away from me, and I was already falling asleep and struggling to stay awake. And he left the bedroom, and I just fell asleep right then on the bed. And this morning I told him I don't want him around Ryan anymore, and he started defending his friend, and I just yelled at him, and he's saying I'm overreacting. Am I the asshole for reporting my parents for taking out debt in my name? I'm 22 and just finished my 3rd year of university. Until recently, I was living with my parents. We've always had a decent relationship, though they've been strict at times. Recently, I started planning to move out. I found a rental I really liked, but during the application process, I discovered that my credit score was extremely low. I was confused since I've never opened any credit accounts or loans in my name. After some digging, I realized my parents had taken out multiple credit cards and loans under my name. It totaled around $60,000. I hadn't known about any of this, and they never gave me access to the mailbox, and I wasn't receiving any bills. When I confronted them, they said they did it during a tough financial period and planned to pay it off, but had fallen behind. They insisted I was overreacting and that this was temporary. I asked them to take full responsibility and clear the debt. I also asked for more independence in the house while I figured things out, including being allowed to have my boyfriend visit or stay over. They refused both. They told me I was being disrespectful and that I had no right to make demands while living under their roof. I didn't see a path forward, so I asked my aunt if I could stay with her temporarily. She agreed and was very supportive. After hearing everything, she encouraged me to report the situation to the police. I did. My parents were charged with identity theft. They're extremely angry and have told the rest of the family that I betrayed them. I didn't want things to end up this way, but I genuinely felt like I had no choice. I couldn't see a future for myself if I was stuck with this debt and still under their control. I feel guilty because I know this will have long-lasting consequences for them, but at the same time, I feel like I need to protect my future. AITAH for involving the police and pressing charges against my own parents. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my dad walk me down the aisle after what he did at my graduation? I, 26F, am getting married this fall. I've been planning the ceremony for months, and everyone keeps asking who's walking me down the aisle. I always thought it would be my dad until what happened at my graduation last year. To give context, I put myself through college. No financial help from my dad. He's always been in and out of my life, supportive when it's convenient for him, absent when things get hard. Still, I invited him to my graduation, hoping he'd make the effort. He showed up late after the ceremony, brought his new girlfriend I've never met, and didn't say a single word about being proud of me. He spent most of the dinner talking about her new business and left early because she was tired. That night I cried. Not because I needed his validation, but because it made me realize I've been begging for crumbs of attention from a man who sees me as optional. So now I've decided my mom is walking me down the aisle. She raised me, she sacrificed for me, and she's never once missed a moment. When I told my dad, he got defensive and said I was punishing him for one bad night. My relatives are splitsome, say I should just let it go and not create drama at my wedding. But I feel like this is the one time I get to choose who really showed up for me. Am I the asshole? I contacted the wife of the man my wife has been cheating on me with and told her husband is cheating on her with my wife. My wife is mad at me for telling her. Long story short, I caught my wife 3 days ago sexting another man. Our 13 years of marriage has been on the rocks before I found out. She was remorseful about it until I talked to the wife. I did some digging about this guy and found out he was married. I found her phone number and talked to her to tell her what happened and where to find the messages. Well, the guy and my wife worked together, and he told my wife, I told his wife. She is now disgusted with me, and I had no right to tell her. AITAH. Update: I really appreciate the support, advice, and validation from this community. The question seems stupid because I've been gaslit and manipulated, and I really needed that Reddit reality check. There's so many replies, I can't find the people whose advice I took to heart and used. But to the people who mentioned Darvo, I appreciate you. Same with the people who said I wasn't obligated to keep a cheater's secret, and that I gave that wife what she never gave me, the ability to make an informed decision on the state of her marriage with all the facts. Her response was alarming, and I see that now. To the people who said to kick her out, I can't do that. We both own this home. She's entitled to live her by law. I'm trying to keep things civil and clean for the kids. As much as I want to burn this house to the ground, I have to do what's best for the kids and myself right now. I went no contact with her after I made this post. Just completely ignored her. It was her turn to watch the kids tonight, so it was easy to spend time with a friend and clear my head. She eventually texted Memi preferred method of communicating messy things, apologizing for how things went down. But then she tried to justify her cheating, saying she wanted a divorce when she did it and told me. So not true, she led me on, saying maybe we can fix things, and I showed her the texts to prove it. I then referred to the Darvo wiki and told her, you don't believe what you did is cheating is incredibly narcissistic, and your victim blaming me. You're highlighting your suffering to appear as the victim and escape blame. To which she denied trying to be the victim and said she wasn't blaming me, but didn't deny trying to escape blame. I told her she led me to believe our 13-year relationship was salvageable, but then cheated on me when she made up her mind and didn't tell me. She told me that was fair, apologized, and now we're sleeping in separate rooms. Maybe I'll post another update. Again, thank you for the reality check. Love makes you blind sometimes. FYI, if anyone else reading this in the future is suffering, make a list of all the things you're thankful for. It really helped my mood. Am I the asshole? For not caring if I made coworker late. ATA, I just wanted to happily vent because I am fine ending our carpool relationship. Wasn't my idea in the first place. I have PTO, I have an excellent attendance record, and I'm also good at my job. So if I decide to be late because of my cat, I can absorb the blow with no impact. So if I decide to be late or take a day off because of my cat, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Turnabout is fair play. Fair exchange ain't no robbery, and a million other things that my father used to say. The people in these comments let me know that people are way too comfortable with being disrespected and tucking their tail between their legs and walking away. You don't get to treat me a certain way, then dictate how I respond. Those of you that live your life that way, more power to you, but I'm not the one. When I started my new job, I found out that a woman who lives in the same complex as I do started working there as well. Her and I struck up a conversation, and after a week, we decided to carpool. It was great and a gas saver, and it's been working out pretty much perfect. Except she has 2 kids that are really into some long goodbyes, crying and whatnot, while her husband makes a minimal effort to get them so we can go. When it's her turn to drive, I have been late a couple of times, because in her words, the kids were having a meltdown and husband couldn't handle it, so she had to calm them down before she left. I'm not talking majorly late, I'm talking into our grace period late. And I don't like to consistently abuse out grace period. Well, this morning, when I bent down like I do every morning to say goodbye to my baby boy, he climbed out of his bed and curled up around my arm and put his head on me and went back to sleep. So I stayed there and I let him sleep for another 15 minutes. She was calling my phone and I kept telling her I was on my way. I finally got there and she asked me what happened and I told her and she got mad and asked me how I could make her late behind a damn cat. I told her we've been late before because of her children and she absolutely said that was not the same thing and I shouldn't be comparing it to that because that's just an animal. I said, well, that animal is my baby and any time that he needs me, I'm going to be there. So if that is an issue, I can understand if you don't want to carpool anymore. She didn't say anything else on the way to work, but I heard through office gossip how I made her late because of the cat. Lol. I'm fine with not carpooling with her anymore. AITAH, he is 4 months old. He's about 3 lb. He's a void, completely black with a little tiny bit of a whisper of white on his belly. He the cutest little thing. I wanted to post a picture, but it wouldn't let me. His name is Lucky. Am I the asshole for not kicking my sister out of the house my parents bought for us for my girlfriend? I, 30M, been dating my girlfriend, 29F, let's call her Leah, for a little over 2 years. About 3 months ago, we talked about moving in together. I suggested we rent her apartment together and live there. But Mai insisted she move into the house that I live in. For context, the house I live in is pretty much like a mansion. Multiple bedrooms, a pool, a huge garden area. My parents bought this house for me and my sister, 55, let's call her Lily, when they went abroad. The plan was for us to live here until we got married, and that my parents would move back in when they retire, and it would be our family house to visit during holidays. Until last year, me and my sister used to live here, but then she moved in with her fiancé. I told her that she is welcome to move back in if she ever had any problems in the future. Her stuff and my parents' stuff are still here, so this is still our family house and not mine. So I told my GF that we choose to live here together. Then she has to deal with my sister or parents moving in here whenever they want. And if she's uncomfortable with that, then we have to move out. And I also told her that if we get married, we certainly will not stay in this house. She agreed and moved in 3 months ago. About a month ago, I got a call from Lily from an unknown number crying in the middle of the night and asked me to come get her. I found her sitting on the pavement next to the road with an injury on her forehead, bleeding and a split lip, and took her hospital. I found out that her fiancé was having an affair, and when she confronted him and broke off the engagement, he got violent and hit her and she ran out of the house in panic. I had her move back in with me and we filed a complaint against her ex. But he only got a month in prison because it wasn't that serious, according to the cops and judge, and a restraining order. Now my GF is going off on me about how can I let my sister move back into our house without consulting her. And I reminding her again that this wasn't our house and that my sister is in a very bad situation. I told my parents about this and they said they will move back in to take care of my sister so that me and Leah don't have to take responsibility for my sister. But it'll take at least 2 months for my parents move back here because my father has a health condition, does not wish to disclose for personal reasons, which requires for him to be on regular checkups and treatment. So it'll take time for them to transfer his reports to a hospital here and find a doctor who can treat him. My parents requested me to stay with my sister until they got back, because her ex would be already out of the prison by then. And seriously, neither me nor my parents want anything to happen. So I talked to my GF about it and told her that we have to move out of this house in 2 months. She refused and said that this is our house and that my sister is one who has to leave. I reminded her again of our deal when we moved in, but she refused to budge. I told her either we both move out after my parents move in, or she can move into the apartment, and I can stay with my sister until my parents get back here and move in with her after 2 months. She begrudgingly agreed to stay until my parents move back in, but has been condescendingly reminding me about how unfair it is that we have to move out of our house because of my sister and my parents. I've been trying to be patient and reminded her multiple times that this is not our house. The last straw was last week when she told my sister she should just suck it up and mode up with her fiancé and not burden everyone around her because she is too sensitive. I had enough and told her to apologize or else we are over. She said I'm being ridiculous and that it's a joke and refused to apologize. So I broke up with her and had her move out of our house. Now all her family and friends have been texting me about what an a-hole I am for treating Leah like that. And me and my sister should be ashamed for treating her like this. I've tried explaining to them about the situation, but they are not having it. My family and friends are on my side, but I started having doubts that maybe I've been too impulsive for breaking up with her like that. Or maybe I should have tried to reason with her I'm kind of lost on what to do. Am I the asshole for refusing to speak to my dad after he cheated on my mom? I, 24, found out a little over a year ago that my dad cheated on my mom. They had been married for over 26 years. Although there were occasional problems in the family here, and there seemed like a strong, united couple, I never saw signs of fracture or lasting issues between them. So when the truth came out, it hit like me hard. My mom was completely stunned. She was devastated, humiliated, and had to pick up the pieces of her life while still trying to keep everything together for the family. Watching her go through that pain was brutal. I've always been closer to her emotionally, and seeing how shattered she was made something in me break too. I confronted my dad once after everything came out. I told him how disgusted and disappointed I was, and how I didn't think I could look at him the same way again. Since then, I've stopped speaking to him entirely. No calls, no texts, no visits. He has tried reaching out several times, and sometimes even came to meet me in person, but I refused to meet him. Now, extended family, mostly from his side, are starting to chime in. I've been told I'm being immature, that I shouldn't punish him for something that happened between him and my mom, and that I need to repair things with my father. Some have even said, he's still your dad, as if that alone should excuse what he did. But here's the thing, I don't see him the same way anymore. I used to respect and admire him. That's gone. I feel like he destroyed our family, disrespected my mom, and betrayed the trust we all had in him. I'm not saying people can't make mistakes, but some mistakes have consequences. And right now, one of those consequences is that I don't want a relationship with him. My mom has never pressured me to take sides or cut him off. She's been really supportive of me making my own decision. But I know it quietly hurts her to see the family so fractured. So I guess I'm wondering AITAH for cutting my dad off and refusing to have a relationship with him after what he did. Am I the asshole for feeling like I can't share any good news because of my brother's situation? I, 27F, have a younger brother, 24M, who was diagnosed with a severe chronic illness when he was 18. It's been tough on him and our entire family, but especially on him. He's had to drop out of school, undergo numerous treatments, and has spent a lot of time in and out of the hospital. He's incredibly brave, but I can't deny it's been emotionally exhausting for all of us, especially my parents, who constantly juggle between supporting him and managing their own lives. Since his diagnosis, it feels like I'm not allowed to talk about anything good in my life. When something good happens to me, my family shuts it down or makes it about him. I get that he's struggling, but it's like there's no room for joy in our house if it doesn't directly relate to him. Every time I try to share anything positive, it's either ignored or immediately turned into a reason to feel bad for him. Last year, I got a new job that I'd been working towards for years. I was beyond excited, but when I shared the news, my mum immediately said, "Let's not make this a big deal right now. Your brother's been having a tough time." So I just kept it quiet. A few months ago, I got engaged to my amazing boyfriend. I was so happy, and I wanted to share the news with my family. But when I did, my dad quickly changed the topic to how my brother was feeling depressed about his situation. He even apologized for not being more supportive of my engagement, saying it was hard for my brother to see me move forward with my life while he felt stuck. I ended up feeling guilty for something that should have been a celebration. Then, a few days ago, I made a huge personal accomplishment. After saving for years, I finally bought my own house. I was ecstatic. When I told my family, the room went completely quiet. My brother looked visibly upset, and my mom quietly said, "This isn't the time. Let's focus on Jaden right now." I felt so small. I tried to tell them how hard I worked for this moment, but no one wanted to hear it. I just ended up leaving, feeling completely deflated. I've been bottling this up for a while, but I finally snapped and said, "Why can't I share something happy without it turning into a conversation about how miserable my brother is? I thought you'd be happy for me." The room went silent again, and I could feel the tension. I ended up walking out, and now I feel like I've done something wrong. I know my brother's illness has turned his life upside down, and I'm not trying to minimize that. But I feel like I'm constantly walking on eggshells, never allowed to talk about anything positive in my life. My parents, even my brother, talk openly about their struggles and frustrations. But when it comes to my life, I feel like it's always the wrong time. I've never felt like I can't share my accomplishments with my family until now. I feel like I owe my brother an apology for the way I reacted, but I don't feel like I should apologize to my parents. Am I being selfish for wanting to share the good things happening in my life? Should I just stop trying to share anything at all to keep the peace?